everyone, welcome to Dice on Ice. My name is Megan, and tonight we are going to be delving into session 6 of Curse of Strahd. And I don't know why, I was just in a mood, so today's session is going to be Find Me Zombody to Love. And Jason has so graciously volunteered, totally 100% not coerced, to do the recap. So take it away.
I definitely think since I'm doing this twice in a row, I should get some kind of inspiration for this, like stacking inspiration for this. No corruption, but just inspiration. Anyway, so we started last session. We had heard the laughter of children coming from up the stairs in this like secret passage that I think Oscar actually revealed by putting a brick back into place in a wall in this room that we were in. And I think it was the Everchild that went up first, and he was kind of looking through like the door or whatever, looking through the crack in the door, and he saw the weird skeletal faced nursemaid thing cooing to this baby supposed bundle that was a baby in her arms potentially, and he kind of brought that to our attention. We all kind of headed up the stairs into this secret passage. Oscar mysteriously did not make it into the passage with us, and it closed behind us, so he is elsewhere, probably breaking things. And so if I remember correctly, we ended up going into the room. The Everchild was giving back his magic. That's what was in the bundle that the skeletal nursemaid had in her arms, and then she disappeared, if I remember correctly. And we found, I think, at least one more of those weird wooden boxes with the evil writing and stuff on it. Two in that room. Got it. And so then we ended up going, I don't know if it was up another flight of stairs or just in that same room, but we found the remains of Rosevalda and Thornbolt Durst, the two children that supposedly had convinced us to go into this house in the first place to try and find their baby brother Walter, and to potentially save their parents from the monster in the basement. Turns out they were dead the whole time, apparently. And so we had a nice little touching moment there. And then we were talking to these children, and I think it was Rose that told us there was a secret passage that would lead down to the basement from the attic, which I guess is where we were. Some interesting structural choices here by the Durst family, whatever, it's Barovia. And so we ended up heading in that direction. However, Thorn wanted to play. The ghost of Thornbolt wanted to play, and so he ended up possessing Felitha before the group made the descent. We went down, way down, and we ended up in the basement, traipsing through some rooms. The Everchild attempted to turn the dead to expel Thornbolt's ghost from Fel. He realized that she was acting strangely. And how low did we go? We went real low, Karen, real low. And so unfortunately that did not work, but the Everchild did tell Eli and Corla that Fel was indeed possessed. We found some what appeared to be like living quarters down in the basement, very disgusting, infested with vermin of all shapes and sizes. Found some treasure. And then there was like a well or something in the center of this particular room, and like 8 or 9 arms were just like shooting up out of there. And there's this weird chanting sound and general horrifying shenanigans. And that's where we left off, with arms coming out of a well.
Yes. And you see that what ends up crawling out are 3 figures. Their skin is coming off. Their clothes are tattered. They look like their bones can't even walk. They can't even walk on their legs anymore. They just kind of crouch, and they open their mouths to scream or make some noise, but only breath comes out in the sound of their tongue wagging and moving in their mouth. And Eli, you are the first to act. What do you do as 3 of these things come out? of this well?
I believe, whether or not this is what I had, I find that I have the windmill longsword drawn automatically from my sheath. Well, not automatically, but instinctively. I've drawn it from my sheath. And as these creatures come out, I am those pillars that are all around the room, like that are holding up the ceiling.
Yes. Yeah.
I just yell to the others, "Watch yourselves!" And I grab one of the pillars and just sort of use it to pivot myself around as I take a swing at one. Let's see how this works out. That's going to be a 23 to hit.
That does not hit. No, I'm kidding. That hits.
Oh boy. And so I only attacked one-handed because I kind of pulled myself around. So that's going to be 9 points of slashing damage as I just sort of swing around on this pillar with my left hand and just sort of use it to pivot around and slash into this thing.
Okay. And you hit it, you come across and you slash it, though no blood or nothing like that comes out, and it looks as though you really didn't. You can't even see the cut that you made in and amongst just the exposed bone and the ragged clothes and just the Mars that are already on this thing. Everchild.
Everchild sees these abominations crawling out of this gutterous well, and he holds fast something held in a leather thong around his neck, clutching it in his fist. He closes his eyes for just a brief moment, uttering a prayer in his mind as he advances towards that kind of place where all three zombies are within like 5 feet of him. And as he's stepping in this way, he's beginning to glow from this fist. And as he opens his eyes burst out with light as I cast the cantrip Word of Radiance to deal some damage to these things.
Okay. Do they have to make some sort of check?
Yeah, so all three of them, please. I'm just looking at what the spell actually does. Yeah, so each creature within 5 feet of me makes a Constitution saving throw against DC 13.
Okay.
And I'll be moving into that fourth square there in melee.
There?
Yep.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right. Oh, sorry, what is the DC?
DC 13.
Okay. All right, all of them pass.
All right, well then nothing happens. As they, I guess, are shielded by the many shadows that exist in this place.
They look at. They all turn to you, Everchild, and their tongues just fall out of their mouth and begin moving. And one of them is going to try to attack you, Eli, and the other two are going to go after Everchild. But all of them miss because dice.
Is the third zombie moving around to get to either Eli or Everchild?
Yeah, the one moves here and
like the diagonal one.
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go.
So, yeah. Fel, you are in the bedroom.
Correct. So having seen these horrifying things come out of this well, Fell, or Thorn, who is currently piloting her body, is absolutely terrified. He opens his mouth, or he opens Fell's mouth to scream in horror. But somehow instead he taps into this. He somehow taps into this fear in a way that he wasn't expecting. And almost without realizing it, he moves Fell's hands in this motion like she's holding something, and then he opens it, and there is this tiny black sphere of just raw force kind of crackling and snarling in between these kind of held apart hands. Fell's eyes have gone completely black, and the veins in the back of her hands are also just filled with what looks like this black liquid, as she is going to cast a chaos bolt at the zombie directly in front of her. Somehow Thorn has managed to tap into her mystical abilities. That is a 21 to hit.
That is a hit.
And so that is going to be a whopping 16 points of force damage.
Wow. Nice. Oops. Yeah, so you can just see you have done quite a bit of damage to this thing. If it was still, what you could guess would be, if it was still alive, it would have cried out in pain or horror, or even so much as flinched as you just create this gouge into this figure, but it does not seem to react. It just kind of lazily turns its head towards you.
And I think seeing that the black coloration in Fell's eyes would fade away, as would the black coloration in her veins on the back of her hands, and Thorn feels that terror again, and he is actually going to move kind of, I guess it'd be one square up to kind of the foot of that bed or bedroll up there, kind of tucking himself into that corner, just sort of huddling down, shaking and shivering, just waiting for this to be over, and that is going to end my turn.
And so we are going to go back in time for a moment. Oscar, you are following the others up the stairs. You are in the back, and for some reason, you stop. You think you can hear a voice. A whisper at first, but it seems to be getting louder and louder, and it seems to be calling your name. And as it gets louder, you can hear that it is, in fact, your wife calling out your name from outside of these stairs going up into the attic. Do you follow it?
I think that in his tired, exhausted state, he would. Anyone knows that when they are lacking of sleep and their body is fighting for resources, their mind becomes a bit dull. And for Oscar, that's probably double the standard. He turns and stumbles the direction of the voice. Dahara, Dahara.
You hear the voice is calling your name, but you can't quite pinpoint where it's coming from. It seems to be bouncing off the walls in this bedroom. It seems to be calling from down in the balcony, and as you go there, it seems to be leading you back into that main bedroom.
Yeah, without any reserve whatsoever, he would for sure continue to follow the voice.
Describe to me what Dahara looked like.
To Oscar, Dahara was the most beautiful woman in the world. She was the first woman who was kind to him, and she held his heart from the very first moment. To anyone else, she would appear tall, slightly above 6 feet, with a broad, kind of plain face. She had strong hands, which Oscar cherished. Her hair was curled and dark, falling just past her shoulders. And she had ears that she hid behind long locks that were a little too big for her frame. But again, to Oscar, she was the most beautiful woman in the world. She had green eyes, and when he looked upon them, he could see the trees, the moss, the fields. It always reminded him of the wilderness and the wild. It kept him happy on days when it was gray and storming, when he was surrounded by stone and graves. To anyone else, she was plain, but to Oscar, she was everything.
And that woman who you loved and cared for so dearly is standing in the center of this bedroom, smiling at you, her green eyes bright and they seem to light up even more as she sees you. Corla, you are down and among these zombies who seem to be kind of forming around Eli and Everchild. Fel has kind of disappeared from view. What would you like to do?
So Corla would, she's still got that silvered short sword that they had just kind of found that's in her hand. And she would take that and step 5, she would go forward towards that zombie that's on the bottom there. And as she's coming forward, she'd be eyeing it and trying to figure out the best, how it's moving, etc. And she will attack that creature.
All right.
That will be a 19 to hit.
That is a hit.
Okay. And I have sneak attack damage on this. So that'll be 8 points of piercing with 5 extra sneak attack.
You can describe to me how you, I guess kill this thing isn't the right word, but it no longer moves.
So as she's going forward, as she was stepping forward and lining up her shot, she was looking at it and how it was moving towards, I guess, Fel, who was just there for a second. And seeing her opening, she lunges forward with that silvered short sword and just kind of catches it in what used to be its chest and pierces something that used to be vital, I guess, and just kind of rips open that hole, and the thing just collapses again, lifeless, to the ground. She's like, go back to where you came from.
You all suddenly hear this mighty crash coming from the bottom of the well. And I had one of you roll me a d4. You rolled a 4. This is your countdown dice until something is going to happen. So your countdown dice is now at 3. And with that...
Thanks, Karen.
Yeah, you rolled high. And with that, Eli.
Oh, can I finish moving around?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, go around the well.
Like that?
Yeah, keep going around so that I'm below that other zombie. Because we ended that one, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. This guy is gone. There we go. All right. Perfect. So that brings us back to Eli.
seeing that my first attack on this thing did not destroy it and it's coming at me, I'm now going to grip my longsword in both hands and attempt to drive it deep into what remains of its guts. That is going to be a total of 13 to hit.
That does hit, yeah.
And because that's with two hands, that's going to be max damage. That is a 13 slashing.
You are able to kill this thing.
Yeah, I just drive it up to the hilt, and as I pierce through what is remaining of its flesh and organs, I twist the blade and hear a snap as I sever its vertebrae. But I imagine the torn rags of clothes are still sort of holding it together as I just kick out at it to kind of draw it off of the blade.
You do so.
And
now,
I turn to the others. That's one. And I realized that somebody has taken out the other one.
That brings us... is that your turn?
Indeed.
All right. That'll bring us to Everchild.
Everchild will focus on his prayers as he silently thinks more prayers, clutching his necklace tight, and little motes of light which seem to kind of float in the air, almost like the dust itself in this place is catching on fire, but not of a heat fire, but just these little tiny nimbuses of light. And they would gather around this last remaining zombie and then begin to just wash it in this shining yellow glow. I need it, please, to make a dexterity saving throw as I cast Sacred Flame on it.
Okay.
It's DC 13.
It got a nat 20, so...
Well, Everchild's magic is not strong in this place. That is the end of my turn.
So this thing right in front of you, Everchild, turns to you as these light flames of yours seem to just lick off of it, doing almost no damage. And it's going to... Sorry?
Is it attacking me?
Yes.
As it lunges at me, my hands come up and shield myself in this just like whoosh, this bathing of light. I'm using my warding flare ability to give it disadvantage on this attack.
All right. Okay, does a 15 hit you?
A 15 does hit me.
All right. And so it just kind of slams into you, lunging at you, Everchild. And... oh, that's not the breakdown. It is going to do 2 points of bludgeoning damage.
And this will knock Everchild back, and he'll kind of skid on his feet, but he ultimately remains standing.
Right. Fell.
So after that that moment of bravery and tapping into Fell's recently discovered innate mystical talents from Thorn, he is so terrified by this place that he just sits in this corner of this small chamber and just sort of hugs Fell's knees to his chest and just shakes. And that is all he is going to do this turn. He is too scared to participate any further, at least at this point.
Oscar, how do you react when you see Dahara smiling at you?
Sorry. Small interruption, just a second.
No worries.
Oscar will probably blindly walk forward. He's limping from one leg where a wound is still bleeding. His ribs are broken and battered. His face bruised. And he thinks back to a time when he was in almost an exact similar situation the first time he met Dahara. He had been hurt on the road, and she had found him close to death. Dahara, wife, it cannot be. And he tries to place his hands on her, to touch her, to see if she was real.
You touch her, and your hand rests on her arms, her shoulders. She feels quite real. And she too outstretches her arms as if she was going to go in for an embrace. She takes a step towards you, encircling her arms around you. She says nothing. She continues to look at you, smiling with her green eyes. They're so very, very green. They almost seem to glow. You can't believe how green her eyes are. I need you to make a wisdom saving throw, please.
With Oscar's mighty +1 to wisdom saves, he received an 8 total.
And so, your vision, Oscar, is just filled with green. And then black. As everything goes dark. Corla.
So Corla advances around the well, and she's now focused on this last remaining zombie, and she's going to take that silvered sword and try to run it through.
Okay.
That would be, do math, 23 to hit.
That is a hit, yep.
And I rolled a whopping 5 points of damage on 2 dice. I rolled 2 ones. That was so lovely.
All right.
I think she would also take another, like a step towards the wall as well. Like a 5-foot move. Yeah.
Like that? Okay.
Yeah. Perfect.
The four of you hear another crashing noise coming from the well, and the sound of a deep, deep growling as your countdown die is now at 2. Eli.
Well, I ain't got much else to do but keep stabbing these things. Or at least try. That's a 9.
That does hit it.
Oh.
Yep.
All right. Well. And that's a 10 slashing damage as I sort of awkwardly move around that pillar to get a good angle on it. And I think it's one of those where it doesn't feel like I put enough effort into it, but it's almost like the creature itself sort of moved into my blade at the same time I moved it. Yeah.
Yeah, this thing is moving around. It seems very unsteady as it kind of just wavers. So, but you still did some damage to it, and all right. And if that's your turn, then Everchild. Or,
Yeah, that's my turn.
okay.
Everchild focuses this divine radiance that are these little motes floating in the air, and once again tries to smite it with a blessing and a miracle. Give me a dexterity saving throw against DC 13.
Okay. That is a critical fail.
Whew, I was wondering what word was coming after the word critical there. All right, this is going to be a whopping 6 points of radiant damage.
Okay.
And then Everchild will kind of bound up onto the stone of the well and through the square of the zombie onto the other side. As a halfling, I am nimble, and I can move through the spaces of creatures bigger than me.
So you want to be here near?
No, I want to. Yeah, yep, right there.
Yep. Okay. Fell. Oh no, sorry. The zombie is going to attack you, Eli. It's going to lunge at you, and it got a nat 20.
I take back my pompous come at me, bro.
Man, these Atcon die. I don't know. All right. So it is. It is going to do. Oh. It is going to do a total of 14 points of bludgeoning damage to you. As I rolled max damage.
I imagine my blade was still driven into this thing, where it had sort of walked itself, and it kind of walks itself up the blade as I'm turning to the others. Don't worry, I think I got this one. And it just bites right into me or slashes me or slams me or whatever it does. Was this a slam attack?
Yeah, slam.
So I imagine it just slams into me and slams me back against the wall. There's a sickening thud as my head hits the wall, and I fall unconscious, followed by the clattering of my windmill longsword hitting the floor. Unless it's still embedded in the zombie.
No, I'd say that as you fall back, you let go of the sword and it just kind of slides out of the zombie or this thing as it clatters against the floor. All right, fell /thorn.
Oh dear. So I imagine that that Thorn hears the heavy thud of this compact, muscular dwarven body hitting the ground, followed by the clanging of metal hitting stone as the windmill longsword hits the ground. And for a moment, there's just like this bare moment where Fell attempts to sort of wrest control of her body back from this child ghost, because she knows that Eli is in trouble and that Eli has been the most dependable, the most consistent person in the group, except for perhaps the Everchild, with some exceptions. And so she tries to move out of this alcove, but Thorn's terror is just too much, and it keeps her locked in place as she recedes, and Thorn comes back to the front, and he is far too scared to do anything. So that is going to be it.
Oscar. Everything is black. You cannot move. You cannot see. You can't even feel anything around you. And so with that, the senses that are working, your sense of hearing and your sense of smell seem to just be buzzing as you smell this acrid stench. A stench that you aren't too unused to working with stone in cemeteries. Sometimes a body would be uncovered and the stench would last in that area for weeks. And you hear the sound of gnawing, the sound of chittering teeth against what you can only describe as against bone. And that is all you can do, is just listen to this sound. Corla.
Corla, seeing Eli fall, broke's no time, and she lunges towards this creature. Oh, I got a nat 20.
Yay!
So how do you do your damage for that side?
We're gonna do max damage, and then you roll the other damage. Or roll the damage dice, adding on to that.
Okay, so, and I do sneak attack, so sneak attack just once, right?
Yes. Yes? No? Maybe? Connor looks very confused.
If it's a crit, sneak attack damage should also
Okay. Then
be multiplied.
yes, you do roll that as well then. You can tell I don't do many combats.
I mean, you're basically doing what we do in my games, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so I have them do any damage with dice, maxed, plus mods, then re-roll dice.
Okay. That will be a total of 26 points then. So she lunges forward. She sees Eli fall, and she just, with the entire weight of her body behind her, she plunges that sword into this creature's probably head.
And you are able to finally dispatch of this last creature.
And she would turn immediately and look to Everchild. Are you okay?
He gives a quick nod, but immediately turns his attention to the Eli on the ground. And Everchild would stand over him and press his palms tightly together as he prays once more. And as he prays, he then drops to his knees. And as he drops to his knees, he then places a hand on, you probably fell backwards, right? On your chest, over where your heart is. And you'd see, you know how if you shine a flashlight through your hand, you can see kind of like almost like the weird glow coming through your fingers? That happens to Everchild's hands and even up his arms a bit, as through this light, he washes over you the Cure Wounds spell. It's like you have the full monopoly here. Hey, full amount here for a total of 11 hit points back. And then Everchild will like stay kneeled over you, Eli, as this healing washes over you. It will help you kind of come to, bracing your head and letting you rise and sit up slowly.
I think there's just a moment as as I come to where I'm completely disoriented. I see the trace remnants of this glow, and Everchild hovering over my face, and I reach out and I sort of grab at your shirt. Did they get out? Did anybody else get out?
And Everchild would
The fire.
ghost whisper to you. Calm yourself. Just breathe.
And shaking my head. And then I seem to sort of realize where I am.
We must move quick. Are you well enough to stand?
Yeah, I think so. And I pull myself a little shakily to my feet and grab my sword off the ground. Kind of surprised, I guess, that these creatures have been taken care of and not just by me. Looking at the tiny Everchild and looking at Corla and where's Phil?
Everchild would like, glance around, and then probably not know exactly where Fel is at the time. I am not sure. Something stirs deep in that well, and I hear it looming closer and closer. We must move. And then Everchild would ghost whisper to you, Corla, find Felitha, and come. And Everchild would kind of lead the escape alongside with Eli, even like as going as far as like to hold his hand to help him north of this place.
So you all hear, as soon as Everchild says this, something lurks in the well. You hear another smashing noise. And you see two hands slowly grasp. I need you all to make perception checks for me, please. And let me know in the chat.
Would Fel/Thorn be able to see this from where they are, or no? Or is it more of like a hearing thing or a smell thing?
A little bit of everything. So I would say that you
Okay,
can.
cool.
Yeah.
Oof, that's craptastic though.
So everyone but Fel, which makes sense. You recognize as this figure pulls themselves up from the well that is not a creature, well, by most standards. It is in fact Oscar. Oscar, you find that your eyes become open. Your arms are strained as you find yourself pulling yourself up from this well. You find that there is a searing, hot pain on your shoulder. It's almost as if you had just woken up from a very bad dream, a dream of rats gnawing at your bones. And now you come to, and as your head peeks over the well, you see Eli, Everchild, and Corla. What do you do? You guys are also out of combat, so.
Other than the pain, does Oscar have his faculties about him? Is he?
Yes. Everything, all your senses seem to be back in order.
Oh, har. Oh.
he'll kind of like slump over the edge, kind of gripping at the stone. What is this? Oh, why? I've never worst place for nap I've ever seen. Oh. Oh. And he'll look at the others. Why do you take nap? This is terrible. Don't do it.
You've been sleeping while we've been dealing with this nonsense.
How you get in there? We last saw you up above.
I don't know. And he kind of swipes at the pain on his shoulder, kind of like idly just remembering that gnawing feeling.
Is it really him? Can we trust this?
Contrary to all of the suspicion or bemusement of the party, Everchild would advance towards Oscar climbing over the well and just help him out, assisting him, helping him, like grabbing him by the forearm and giving him that leverage, although how much leverage can a 30-pound halfling give? Even just more so emotional support than even physical support at this point.
Ugh. And he looks over Everchild for a moment and remembers before he blacked out the situation with the rug and how brave he was pulling and trying to save him. Ugh. Always, child. You are good. Thank you. And then he like stops for a second, looking across the way into one of the rooms that has a bed. There are beds here? Ah. Yeah. Wait, no. There are ghosts. I got here from ghosts. And he looks very worried, shaking his head, pulling at some of the tattered remains of his cloak, making sure he's in one piece. He's looking for his bricks now. Where is his bag of bricks? Then he looks for the shovel. Where is that?
Do you look down the well?
He would indeed.
You see that they are at the bottom there.
How long has... I thought I saw something and did it with dark. And then I remember chewing and noises and dark. And he like looks down in the well, trying to gauge the distance. He's not even sure how he climbed up.
You would see that it's about 30 feet.
I need my things. I wonder, did you dump me down the well? He looks at someone not Everchild, perhaps Eli or this new person, Corolla.
I could not lift you. I did not do it. And with that, she would actually turn and probably walk away towards the bedroom where Felitha would be.
Could not. Oh, yes. Ah. Yes.
I wouldn't waste my time throwing you down the well. I'd rather had you standing beside us during this fight.
Fight? With the rug. That was a bad rug.
Nah, these things. And I kick at the remnants of these dead and broken zombie things.
Oh, do not disrespect the bodies. No. And he goes over and actually tries to put the bones back together. He looks quite worried.
I just give a kind of dismissive bah, and I head up into that room that was the closest to me, and I just sit on the bed, just sitting there, kind of rubbing at my head.
Everchild ghost. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I just said this hurts.
Everchild ghost whispers to Oscar. These dead rose and attacked us. Eli is very shaken from this. Give him space.
Yeah. And he kind of puts one of the bones down, again, gently, trying to arrange it so that the shin bone connects to the ankle, etc. But then he kind of dusts his hands off, looking a bit worried. Is This grave, and he like looks around at the kind of mausoleum style structure, the stone walls. Oh, very bad. Very bad. I thought we were in house. I do not recall many, what you call, things happen.
The house is a grave. Many have perished here. Many have their memories linger in this place. And if at all, Felitha is like peeking out at the. No? Okay. Well, Everchild would be giving her the side eye if she was visible, but unfortunately she is not. But yeah.
Who is this? And he's like kind of trying to keep his voice sort of low, and he's pointing at the retreating form of Corla as she turns away.
It is Corla. Do you not remember her?
I think I saw her come from room after rug, but then I push and break, and we hear a noise on stair, and then I hear someone call my name, and then I wake up in bones. This is because I fight. When I fight, my head goes wrong. Ah!
It would be wise to know when to stay your blade and when to raise it. Not all things can be answered with fights. You know that to be true, Oscar.
I saw you
Mr.
fight
One.
Rug. He crosses his arms, kind of looking down at Everchild. It was good fight, not bad fight.
There is wisdom to you.
But it is...
Keep that close to you. Keep that in your mind. What is a good fight and what is a bad fight?
It is like drinking too much when I fight. Do you know? Your head feels like mud. It is good at first. Your hands, they feel strong. You think you are smart, you think you are fast. But after the drinking and the next day, it is always mud. And the light is too bright. For me, this is fight. When I fight, I feel this way. My father tell me, Oscar, never fight. You are too big, you will break them in half. You will go to jail. It will be terrible. He never tell me about the mud. Ah.
That feeling you feel, Oscar, of when you fight, that is regret you are feeling. And Everchild would put his hand on you and cast guidance on you as he blesses you. Keep these words of wisdom close.
Yes. I listen to you. I listen to Eli. Very smart. Okay. Now I need shovel and bricks. And he's like trying to climb down the well now.
And as Oscar turns his attention to the well, Everchild would turn his attention to Eli sitting on the bed. And Everchild would kind of just join him as he would walk over.
You know, I appreciate that little bit of mysticism you work when you, when you heal wounds. But God's be damned if it's not irritating when you talk one at a time to us. We can only ever hear one side of a conversation. But
he would ghostwise to you. If I could talk plainly to all of you, I would. And then he would actually make a really raspy coughing sound.
Ooh.
That's all he can utter.
All right, well, I guess in lieu of I'll take the one-sided conversations in exchange for all the other things you can do. And don't get me wrong, I appreciate it. I'm not exactly feeling 100%, but I'm feeling better. We should probably get the others Continue.
And Everchild would just nod and look. He's almost like leaning against the wall of in the doorway. You kind of look over his shoulder to see how Oscar and Corla are doing in the main chamber.
So yeah, Corla would have walked into that room where Felitha would have been, and she would have gone in and, you are hiding here?
And Thorn, for a moment, would kind of jolt hearing Corla's voice, and then sort of stand up, like trying to make it look like, no, I wasn't hiding here. I was totally like prepared to jump in and help everybody. And he would just say, no, I was just thinking about what I should do next, but you all, and then he'll kind of lean in. You all took care of the things out there, right?
It is okay. They are all gone now. You can come out.
No, I mean, I was totally going to come out anyway before you came over here. I just wanted to make sure everything was all right. Right.
Yes. You were looking for some hidden thing, right? That's what.
Absolutely. And then he'll kind of lean in and actually kind of grab your shoulders, Corla. And it's a little weird because obviously you and Fel don't haven't had a lot of interactions. But he'll just kind of say, "Did you see what I did? Like I did that," and he'll pull his hands back. I did the whoa, and then like, did you see that? That was crazy. Like wait until I tell Rose, and then he sort of stops. And he's like, wait until I tell the others. Absolutely the others.
Are you feeling okay? You are being strange.
No, I'm just super terrified because he'll just like point wordlessly at the pallet, which I imagine is like crawling with like centipedes and rats, and there's mold and everything on it. This place is kind of disgusting and scary and gross.
Come, we shall go with the others. And she would lead, probably even actually at this point grab Fel's hand, because something is just not right and she's not going to let you go. And she's going to pull you towards I guess where she last saw Eli disappear into, thinking that's probably where Everchild went.
And I definitely think as you grab Fel Thorn's hand, you would feel like the grip kind of tighten a little bit, because I imagine Thorn was very used to holding Rose's hand when they were alive and even as ghost children. So the grip tightens, and he just kind of follows along in your wake.
Yeah, and Corla would look down a little bit, kind of not expecting that, but she would keep walking. Everchild, I have found Fel, but I do not think.
No, her state.
She is being weird.
I'm not being weird. I told you what I was doing. I was preparing myself to help you all, but you took care of it. It's good.
She is
good
possessed
job,
by the
team.
In every spare moment I pray, and I conjure and prepare my ritual to remove Thorn from her body. I need time to sit and meditate on it. And that time it seems we do not have right now. For at the moment, Corla, we will have Fel join us in this Thorn state. But I have kept my eye on him.
Well, as long as you are aware, Dead, I will follow your lead. You know much more about this than I. Thorn, and she looks at Fel.
Ooh. Let's see. So I think for like a minute, like immediately the gaze just flicks over to you, Corla, and Thorn starts to speak, and he's like, "Oh, what are you talking about? There's no Thorn here. What are you?" And like it's so terrible. It's so obvious. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm Feleth. Yes, Feleth. That is me. Right.
Thorn, it is okay. We know it is you, and for now we will take care of you.
Oh.
You be good boy now.
You're gonna take care of the monsters, though, right? Not that I'm Thorn or anything, but just as this Feleth there, you're gonna take care of the monsters, right? Like you said, like we said we were going to.
Of course, that is why we are down here.
Right. Okay.
We may
Mhm.
need your help, so no more hiding. Okay.
I mean, it's really dark and scary down here, and I don't know if you heard before, but there was that weird noise that sounded like, I don't even know what it sounded like, but it was pretty scary. So, I mean, I'll try, because we're part of a team.
Thank you.
Everchild glows as he casts light upon himself as you say that you're scared of the dark. And that he does
Wow.
nothing else but that.
I wish I could do that. Maybe I can do that. And he's gonna let go of your hand, Corla, and just try and like concentrate, like, all right, and of course nothing happens. Just all right. Well, maybe I can't do that. Maybe later. Maybe. So what are we doing now?
We need to get moving, as I have sheathed my sword and I have actually pulled off the light crossbow from where it's strapped to my pack. And you just hear this sort of as I load and cock the crossbow. Perhaps it's in our best interest not to get quite so close to these things.
Absolutely. They smelled terrible from across the room where I was helping.
Oscar, you're climbing down the well. I need you. I would actually say that if you take your time while everyone else is talking and do it carefully, you would be able to get down fairly easily.
If you'll allow him to take a 10, that'd be a 16. He's got a +6. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think after a minute or two, if he's able to shuffle through the stuff at the bottom, and people are kind of like standing around talking, a shovel will come flying up out of the well and then clatter onto the stones, and then a bag of bricks and perhaps some tools for crafting stone and some rope and a chain and a bunch of just junk that you would see laying on the side of the road, forgotten. But to Oscar, these are prized possessions.
You would also notice at the bottom of this well that there is no exit. There's no tunnel leading out of this well. It seems to just be, the top and then a drop and then it ends at some dirt.
With no sign of like moisture or some sort of an underground water
None.
source?
No.
Once he struggles his way back over the top, and he's kind of huffing and puffing, not that this would normally exert him, but just his current state of disarray and pain. He's kind of, stupid well, not even water at the bottom. But they got bricks, and he holds the bag up like triumphantly as if it's some huge accomplishment.
So where would you guys like to go? Are you going to go back up north, or are you going to go southeast?
We came from the north, so yeah, we definitely need to go this way. And I will lead the way, holding my crossbow at the ready.
So you see here that there are two sets of stairs, and then at the one landing, you see that there is a hallway to the right, and then if you were to go up further, you'd see that there's another flight of stairs, and then a little bit of something to the right. So you have two options.
Well, I don't much like the idea of just walking past an open area. So coming up to that corner by the landing, I'm going to swing around and get a look inside this passage or room or whatever it is.
So immediately, you see that it just stretches into a long hallway that seems to just disappear, which you can only imagine is because there's a set of stairs. And you do see what looks to be a bit of an alcove leading to your left, further down. I need you to make a perception check for me, please.
That is a natural 1, so that would be a total of 2.
Well, it's a hallway.
If it's any consolation, Everchild is standing next to you, Eli, because he is literally the light that illuminates this place.
I have dark vision, so
Well,
I'm not too
Everchild
concerned
doesn't
about the
care.
light. In fact, I can almost imagine being a halfling next to a dwarf. Your light is causing my shadow to cast down this hall and kind of obscure things a little bit. Well, hold on a second. I'm going to move. Actually, hold on. Oscar.
Yes, I am Oscar. And he kind of like lumbers forward.
If you don't mind watching my back and the rest of you keep an eye out here. Let's move down here and check this out.
Okay.
Better look. And I want to move 10 feet down. I'm going to stay close to that west wall and kind of peer around into where that alcove is. Think now that I've got this crossbow, I'm like moving very tactically. Though I don't know if I know what tactics are. But being very careful, back against the wall and kind of peering around.
So you're going to move, 10 feet down that hallway?
Yes.
Okay. Oscar, when you're looking down the hallway, I need you to also make a perception check, please.
Okay. I almost said okay. All right. 14. 14.
You also... You only see... It looks like a hallway. It's only lit by the light of Everchild.
It's definitely hallway.
And so, yeah, you travel 10 feet. You don't hear anything. Everything is very, very silent.
I was going to say maybe if Oscar did not pass, it may be because he is wrapping chains around these old boards around his arm and kind of making a clattering sound as he does so. Not really aware of what tactically means whatsoever.
I can just imagine as you're doing this clattering, clanking sound that I'm just turn and look at you, waiting for you to finish. Are you about
Eli,
done there?
Eli, you want the bricks or chain?
You're making a lot of noise, Oscar. Like a lot of noise.
Yes, I Wait. We quiet. Why are we quiet?
Well, cause and Thorn will just kind of point back in the direction of where the zombies were, cause that stuff.
But they are dead.
Right, but there could be, and like he looks at you, Corla, for a second, like confused. But there's probably more, right?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, don't wake the dead. My father, he told me. Oh, okay.
Right. All right.
Right.
Let's keep moving down this way. Just see if we can clear this area out. And I'm going to start moving forward, heading south down this hallway. Crossbow at the ready.
Eli, you take a step.
Damn it.
And you hear the sound. At first, you hear this creaking. And as you put more weight onto your foot, you feel the weight of the floor give way. And you fall. Oscar and anyone who is watching would just see Eli disappear and the sickening sound of body against wood. As Eli, you find that you have landed in amongst sharp wooden spikes. And I'm just gonna roll your damage.
She did not say that with any amount of glee in her voice.
No, not at all.
You done goofed, boy.
Did Eli just fall into like a pit full of punji sticks? Oh god.
Just gonna get all my
Shut up,
D10s
Connor.
out. I need more D10s. Hello. There we go. So you are going to take 14 points of damage.
I imagine this happens so quick. And with my weight, I just drop and they hear this crashing sound. I don't say anything. I don't have a chance to cry out. But I am pierced and bleeding and unconscious again. My last thought in my mind is of my cousin Talmud.
It's always the dwarf.
Yep.
So what do the rest of you do? You see that Eli completely disappears.
Oh, is the dwarf magic too? Do we all have magic? Does the big one have magic?
Everchild would non-vocally exclaim, as if you hit the mute button on your video, and would kind of leap forward, seeing to where Eli's feet had been. Is there any obvious hole that he had crashed through?
There is, absolutely. If you were to look down, you'd see this huge pit, about 10 feet down, and Eli in amongst these wooden spikes, bleeding.
Everchild would ghostwise whisper to Korla and Oscar. He's down here. As Everchild would like to descend into this pit carefully, kind of using as many things as footstands and hands as possible.
No, wait. He sees the spikes at the bottom, and Oscar starts he had raveled the chain. Now he's unraveling the chain from his arm. Hold. Quick, go. And he'll actually lower Everchild on this chain.
In the time it takes to do that, Eli, I need you to make a death saving throw, please.
Well, let's see. I exclusively use my Atcon D20 for death saving throws. And that's a 19.
All right.
So that's one success.
So, Everchild, you are lowered down. I'm not going to make Oscar make a check, because you are very light.
Is Eli thoroughly impaled, or does it look like he has life still clinging to him?
It appears as though he is... You can... As you get closer, at first you could not hear any form of breath, but as you get closer to him, you can hear the ever so slight rasp. It seems as though he is alive, but just barely.
Is he impaled on any spikes?
You see that his
Or is it just-
leg
Oh,
is fully impaled.
Everchild notices this, and he would direct Oscar to descend him further, and then kind of shift him leftwise, maybe a foot or so, as Everchild goes to Eli's leg, and I feel like he's light enough that he can almost kind of walk on Eli a little bit, while also kind of suspended by Oscar. just to kind of like maneuver a bit easier. And he goes to the leg, and he winces as he grabs that shin that's right there on the leg, or on the skewer. As his hands glow with that same nimbus again, and this anesthetic light comes and washes over you, Eli. And as it's healing this wound in your hand, he's like slowly lifting it off of the spike, so that as the skin kind of forms, the skewer is removed, and so you'll have an intact leg, hopefully by the end of it. As I'm using up another spell slot to cast the same spell.
So I'm going to say that you are able to do it, but I'm going to make you make a strength check to see if you can lift it up fast enough before Eli wakes up.
Okay. That's going to be a 16 total.
Okay.
With a 16 on the die. So.
Okay, yeah, you are able to lift it, and as you're lifting it, you're able to get it out before Eli wakes up.
Congratulations, Eli. You are healing another 9 points.
I can't help but notice every time you heal me, it's slightly less.
It's yeah.
Beggars can't be choosers.
I think it's scarier that every time you did take damage, it seems like it's slightly more.
And then as you come to Eli from this, Everchild would like kind of steady you. He'd like be like right in your face, and he would ghostwise whisper you, "Be careful how you move."
Why is it every time I close my eyes, your face is the first thing I see when I open them again?
Lathander's light has its way. As Everchild just goes in for a hug, it seems, but this hug has nefarious purposes, as he is trying to actually grab onto you, as he ghostwise whispers to Oscar to heave, and he's essentially trying to help lift you out.
Oh, Oscar knows the word heave, and he pulls.
This is like the weirdest crane game.
Hopefully we don't drop you halfway up.
Yeah, I'm gonna, at this point, lifting them both, I'm going to get you to make a strength.
All right.
Nice.
Me or Oscar?
Oscar.
Okay.
But you can do it at advantage because of everyone just kind of holding and helping. And
Okay, that is without advantage of 15, so let's hope I do it better. Yeah, that's an 11 plus 6, 17.
Yeah, you're able, with some effort, to pull Eli and Everchild out of the pit.
Oh, I see. He didn't turn invisible. He fell into a pit. Oh, that's unfortunate.
Well, thank goodness you're here to state the obvious.
Absolutely. Wait, what? What did he say? And Thor will look over at Corla.
All right. Well, I have done us all the favor of determining that there are some weak spots in the floor and that we all need to proceed with much more caution.
Or maybe we don't go this way and we go the other way, because this way has holes in the floor.
I'm not entirely sure that's not going to be true elsewhere. And I feel rather inclined, even more so, to want to know what's in this direction, given the presence of this trap, as one typically traps areas in which they do not want individuals to trespass.
You talk funny. Are we going to take a rest? I'm kind of tired.
Wait, Oscar, he kind of he's got like that epiphany moment. He's like, oh, beds. There are beds back there. And he points towards the
They're
room.
They're real gross. They're like real gross.
No, not for laying on. You put them over this.
Actually,
like tiny
Oscar,
courage.
I think Phil may actually not have such a bad idea. As much as I'm eager to press on, I'm not. I'm not exactly feeling 100% anymore. We've been through quite a bit, and if we could just sit for a spell, maybe I don't know, half hour, an hour, just catch our breath, maybe until my head stops spinning and my leg smarting something awful. Wait a minute. Is that a hole in my pants? Yeah, we need to, if y'all don't mind, I think we should sit for a spell.
Your leg is really hairy, like really weirdly hairy.
I just give you the side eye as I start kind of limping past, heading back towards the chamber with the well and the beds. I'm not even waiting for approval. I'm heading to a bed and I'm just going to sit down on it. And hopefully we have time to take a long or a short rest.
Do the rest of you follow? Back
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Everchild would offer, words of wisdom. Rest the body and rest the mind.
Okay.
And he will sit cross-legged meditating in the open area that contains the well, rather than sitting on a bed. He has incense set up around him as he is just, praying and meditating.
Right.
Now, I would like to roll hit dice, but I guess that's entirely dependent on whether or not we can get an actual hour of rest here.
I will say yes, that you get just an hour of taking a break and just kind of taking a breather. You hear the occasional sound of rustling. You hear maybe what you think to be a deep growl coming from the well. Or maybe it was just your imagination.
Or maybe it was just Lancelot who is totally still with us, right?
Yep.
All right, cool.
And as the characters take a break, we will also take a break. See how that works? So, but our break will not be half an hour to an hour. So just take a bit of time and we will be right back. Thanks everyone who is or will be watching, and we will be right back. All right. Awesome. We are back. We are rested. They are rested. So let's get back into this. So you guys are back in the room with the well. And after you feel a bit more rejuvenated, where would you guys like to go?
Everchild will approach Felitha, or should I say Thorn, wherever they might be resting at this time at the end. And Everchild would ask them to come sit across him as he has taken a seat across them.
I imagine that during the rest, Thorn was kind of going through Fell's bag and just like pulling out different things like the moss agates that we found, though he would recognize those. I think she had like an extra kitchen knife or something as well. I'm just kind of looking at all this stuff like, what is all of this? And then when the Everchild comes over, he would kind of look over at Corla and look at the Everchild and then kind of put all this stuff away and then go and sit across from the Everchild. So what's going on? Are we heading further down into darkness and scary stuff?
Tell me, Thorn. You are scared of the dark, yes?
No, hang on. I'm Felitha. I'm not that other thing.
Thorn, we're not playing around. It's not game time anymore.
No.
We are adults. We have very many adult things to do.
Okay.
And for this, we need Felitha back.
Why?
Because when Felitha was hiding in the bedroom, Eli was struck down. And unfortunately, Thorn...
That's the dwarf, right? I mean, I know it's the dwarf, but I just wanted to make sure that's...
Yes, it's the dwarf.
Okay.
Thorn.
Okay.
You hurt Eli.
How?
And you made Felitha hide.
And he kind of frowns at that, like, I didn't do anything. It's not my fault. I didn't do anything.
You could have helped him.
How?
By standing like Felitha would. And I can see the difference between you and Fel. You cannot hide inside of her anymore. So tell me, Thorn, you are scared of the darkness, yes?
Yeah.
Then look at this light. And he holds one of his hands aloft, and that hand shines brightly.
He'll look at it. It's really bright.
And Corley, you're seeing like half of this conversation happening. And then Everchild just like starts illuminating from his hand. And he's essentially distracting Thorn, while his other hand traces in the dust the script of the many prayers that he is reciting in his head and is actually encircling all around him as he is using his channel divinity once again to turn undead, to banish Thorn from Fel's body.
Was it a wisdom save?
It's a wisdom saving throw.
What's the DC?
13.
Oof, got a +0. Come on, roll low. Ooh, I rolled a 10.
So, Fel.
Mm-hmm.
You have been aware this entire time of what has been going on around you, but a prisoner in your own body, fighting for control. But Thorn's grasp, Thorn's just, you can tell that he just wants to be alive again, to not be trapped. But you feel this overwhelming sense of fear not coming from you, but coming from Thorn. As you are looking up at this light. And the rest of you begin to hear this wailing cry. At first it looks like it's coming from Felitha as you open it wide. And this scream comes out, but soon all of you can see that within Fel's mouth is another mouth, a smaller mouth. Sorry, Jason's face.
Sorry, that was not what I expected, but continue.
And you can see that it's almost as if there's these two figures that seem to be in the same place at once, fighting for the same space. You see Fel flicker as Thorn, then Fel, then Thorn, as this crying wail erupts. But finally, you all see the figure of Thorn standing in the area. And he looks at all of you. His eyes are streaked with tears. And he begins to run away, calling Rose's name. And Fel, you are back within your body. You have control over it again.
About how far away is Thorn?
He's running, and he's running pretty fast. By the time you notice, he's probably at the stairs to the north end.
So I imagine at first there's sort of this feeling of inertia, of almost oh God, what's that word? I can't even think of it, but like inertia, like vertigo. That's the word. As she finds herself back in control of her own body, and she looks at the Everchild, and I think Everchild, for a moment, you would just see this look of its confusion, its fear, its disgust, and then this just raw hatred just washes over this pale, freckled face, and she's going to take off after Thorn, and you watch as she runs, these trails of teal-colored fire start to leak from her fingertips, and she is going to attempt to, if she can get a shot at him, throw a firebolt at him as he withdraws.
And as you run past me, I'd reach up and kind of grab whatever like pants, I guess, you have, just like grabbing, just trying to stop you, but ultimately I'm pretty sure that you could probably...
Oh yeah, she does not even pay attention. She is furious. Freaking hell. You know what? I have that inspiration. I really want to try and do this just because it's what she would do, so I'm going to go ahead and use my inspiration to reroll that, because that was terrible. That's much better. That is a 17.
That hits.
All right. Let's see here. It's not great damage. That's 5 points of fire damage. As I imagine, she just lets out this like wordless howl of just rage and hatred as she throws this sphere of teal-colored fire at Thorn's back. Probably not like hitting him full in the back in his ghostly back, but probably like in a leg or something like that.
He stumbles at the base of the stairs. And you can see that this hurt him. And he stops and he whirls around and he kind of starts backing up the stairs, but he's cowering and he's crying and he's calling out for Rose.
And as he keeps calling out, Everchild will step out of the doorway, now standing, and now being in full view of Thorn. Essentially the turning effect will continue to happen as he has to keep running away from me. And Everchild just has like the sternest look on his face. And go ahead, sorry, Fel.
No, you're good. I'm just saying Fel would pursue as Thorn continues to move away.
And Everchild would ghostwise whisper to you, Fel, stay your magic. Let him flee. It's not worth your energy.
She looks over her shoulder at you, Everchild, and then looks back at Thorn and will continue to follow at this point.
Instead of pursuing the darkness, witness the light that has saved you. Lathander's light. Come, stay.
Thorn is running. He continues to run into that other area with the beds and up the stairs, and you can see that he is trying to get back to that spiraling staircase that goes back upstairs towards the house.
So Fel will at least follow to the base of the stairs, and then she will just kind of look up at Thorn, I imagine, as he's scrambling up the stairs and, I don't know, phasing through the ceiling or the roof or whatever of the basement. And she will just say, probably just loud enough for him to hear since he's closer than the Everchild is, "If I ever see you again, I will burn you. I will shock you. I will utterly fucking," and the others could probably hear that, "destroy you." And then she will turn and walk back to the rest of the group.
Yeah, you hear no response except for the wails and the cries for Rose that continue to echo almost everywhere throughout this basement.
And she would go back to the others, kind of walking past you, Everchild, and just kind of just pacing almost just back and forth, just sort of like flexing her hands and kind of smoothing down the wrinkles in her doublet and her breeches. Just, it's like antsy energy she's not entirely sure what to do with. Still visibly agitated, but not really saying much.
That is good.
I turn to Corla. Right about now, I imagine you're having some reservations about teaming up with us, huh?
You are all strange, but that emotion, that one I understand all too well. So it is normal for, I think I understand her better now. This Fel.
Well, I suppose it's good at least somebody does.
What are we doing?
Oscar is awkwardly dragging a bed across the stone floor towards that pit trap.
God damn it, Oscar.
Just making that loud screech.
And Everchild's ghost whispers to you, Fel. As some pursue their wrath, others find solutions to their problems. As Everchild is just watching Oscar dragging this bed.
And Fel would sort of stop pacing to watch Oscar just dragging the bed across, and she'll just shake her head. And she looks to you, Everchild, and says, "I appreciate what you're trying to do, but sometimes platitudes ring a little hollow, especially when," she kind of tilts her head to the side, "how did you put it? You're being ridden like a wagon." And then she'll leave the little room area and move into kind of like the main chamber where the well is at, and just kind of call out again, a little louder, but not too loud. "What are we doing? Are we moving? Are we going back upstairs? What are we doing?"
Well, we follow Oscar and his bed there. He's going to make what was previously impassable passable.
All right.
For what it's worth, I appreciate having you and your candor back with us.
Yeah, I appreciate it as well. And then she kind of looks at you, Eli, and just says, "I'm kind of surprised it took you all so long, but I understand we haven't been traveling together for too terribly long. Better late than never, I suppose."
Well, the problem is sometimes you recognize that there's a problem, but you're not entirely certain what to do to solve that problem, or maybe we don't have the means by which to solve the problem right away.
True. No, that's very true. If we end up getting out of here alive, Eli, there's something I want to discuss with you, but it's not important right now. I think our main priority needs to be getting out of here.
Well, then I guess that's some small bit of motivation I can use to stay alive, I guess.
I guess so. I guess. Anyway, let's see what Oscar's doing before he falls into that pit of spikes.
Oscar, what are you doing?
Oscar is dragging whichever bed seemed the most stable out of the terrible selection.
Mhm.
And he will basically drag it behind him, lifting it up over the stairs as to not make too much noise, because there's a limit, right? I mean, squealing and such is fine, but the clatter of the bed over the stairs would just be too much in his opinion. So he'll carry it up the stairs and then drag it again back towards wherever that pit was.
Okay.
And then his idea would be to use the bed like a tiny bridge to span this the gap.
Awesome. Yeah. The pallet underneath this bed just bridges the gap. You see, it's just a little bit longer than the length of the gap, which is about 5 feet. So you have made an effective bed bridge.
You'll all forgive me if I'm disinclined to take the lead.
And Everchild will just step forward. He's a beacon of his own light, and he will step up onto the bed, begin to walk across it, shining brilliantly the whole way. Unfortunately, this isn't quite a test of the bed's ability because Everchild is about 30 pounds. So it supports him most likely, but you can't really know for certain for any of you guys who weigh significant amounts compared to him. Everchild waits on the other side.
I think Corla would follow. Once Everchild had made it over, Corla would then try. Being a little bit more cautious than Everchild was.
You were able to make it. One second. You're able to make it across. You hear a tiny bit of squeaking and maybe a bit of groaning from the wood, but it holds firm and you're able to cross.
Fel would probably follow after Corla, probably being not quite as weighed down with equipment as Eli and Oscar are.
Okay. You're also able to make it across. And then who else? Who's next?
Eli, give me your things. We will throw them.
You are not going to throw my stuff.
Your bag or box or whatever this is.
It is a rucksack that's actually a wooden chest.
It is confusing. We should throw it.
There's too much valuable in here to throw it. And before you even suggest it, you're not throwing me either.
Oh, come on.
And
This is a thing we do.
I'm going to try to step as lightly as possible. So I'm going to try to move quickly and do that thing where you just try to only no, not short, fast steps, but more like try to take a longer stride with my stubby dwarven legs.
I need you to make a dexterity saving throw.
I
please.
knew that was going to happen with me. Which die?
Getting thrown doesn't look so bad now, does it?
Come on, Cameron. Nobody throws a dwarf. Come on.
No one's the
you said
Oscar
that's
for
a-
a dwarf.
A
Oh,
dexterity save?
Yes, dexterity save.
11.
You feel the weight. It's kind of like it's happening all over again. Is that you take a step and you can feel the weight from underneath you. begin to give. But with a few short, quick, very uneven steps, you're able to wobbly get across just in time as the bed cracks and breaks and cracks in half into the pit. I feel like you kind of knock into those who are across the way as you get across.
Well, God damn it.
I hate this fucking house.
Oscar.
You broke my bread. It's in the pit.
Well, I'm sorry about that, but if you're the biggest of all of us here, I can't imagine it'd be that difficult for you to get across this hole.
I could have just thrown your rucksack. Yeah. And he goes, move out of the
Oscar,
way.
there are other beds.
No, the bed would not carry me anyways. If it do not carry Eli, it does not carry me. Move, move, move. And he starts swinging his big bag of bricks over his head like a shot put or something.
Yeah, I start just kind of put my arms out and start moving everybody back.
And
Oh,
her child will go to the stairs and actually put that corner between him and the Goliath swinging a bag of bricks.
That stairs that go up?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That sounds like a good idea. Fel will follow the average child.
Oscar will
So will Corla.
henceforth begin tossing shovels and bricks and planks of wood and spikes and such across as quietly as he can, but let's just assume it's not at all. So yeah, he'll throw some dangerous shit across, and then he'll back up, take about a 20-foot lead, and then do a running jump.
Wait, before you jump, don't forget the fucking dog.
There's a dog. Ah! No, I'm kidding. Yeah, no, he'll like glance back. Is Lancelot still?
Yeah, he's just kind of sitting there, just giving you guys kind of like the...
Is Lancelot like a medium dog, like 35 or 40 pounds or something?
Yeah, medium.
He'll just pick him up. I mean, that's like half a bag of bricks.
Yeah.
Good dog. Good dog.
I feel like that's Oscar's unit of measurement.
Yeah, bag of bricks. 1/4 bag of bricks. So he'll try and he'll cradle the Lancelot dog in his arms. Don't bite face, and then he'll back up to 20 feet and do a good run. Thank God I'm a natural athlete. 19. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, you're able to clear the jump quite easily.
For the first time ever, Oscar makes something look cool. Probably like lands and then gently glides Lancelot on into a little trot.
Yep.
I should try that next time.
So you saw that once you're across this gap, you guys are all on the little landing of the stairs that go up. You see that there's kind of a bit of a T, and then like a cross, and then it goes up and ends, and you can see that it takes a right from where you are, or south. So there's 2 ways south and 1 way north from where you're looking at the map.
Everchild would begin to wander down the southmost of those 4.
So the first...
The stairs down? Or
So there's like the cross at the top of the stairs. He goes to the southmost one. Yeah, that one.
That one?
Yep.
Okay. So you see that it extends down and takes a left and then a right. Do you guys keep going? Are the rest of you following?
Yeah, I'll follow along. I just mutter something ahead to Everchild about you might want to watch your step.
I would be surprised if the planks would give under my weight. But thank you for your wisdom.
You can hold a bag of bricks if you want to test Fuller.
As you guys all get closer, you hear the sound of what sounds to be glass clinking. And the very soft sound of a woman humming. And as you travel further down, you approach a room. And in this room, you see a table. It's a small table. On top of it are 2 plates. There's rotting food filled with squirming maggots and flies. And in the chair furthest from you, furthest from the entrance, you see a woman sitting there. Her eyes are black. There are veins radiating from her mouth like spiders. Black. Her lips are black and cracked as she looks up at you, and they become a wide grin. You can see that her teeth are yellowed, almost brown, black in some places. Her skin is sallow and bony, and I need everyone to make perception checks for me, please.
Don't know
Or
if I want to
insight.
see any more detail. That's terrifying.
Well, Everchild's got a natural 20 for a total of 23.
So, Everchild, Eli, Corla, you recognize this woman as so many family portraits that were littered all over the house. Though it is hard to tell based on her state now, this is Elizabeth Durst. And she smiles at all of you. Welcome! You're just in time for dinner. Please sit for a while, won't you? It's been ages since I've had guests. And she takes a spoonful of this maggot and fly, just like gruel, and she puts it into her mouth and chews it as if it was the finest delicacy. She smiles at you again.
Everchild ghostwise whispers. Oh, go ahead.
No, say what you're gonna say.
He ghostwise whispers to the 4 of you the simple phrase, "Beware Elizabeth Durst," kind of echoing what the maiden had said to him in the last session.
And with that, that is where we're going to end our session.
But we'll never know if it's delicious or not. Damn it.
Today's session has been brought to you by Crunchy Maggotos, a part of a complete breakfast.
Oscar is not good. It will be bad for you.
God damn it.
All right.
If it move, it tastes good. Ho-ha!
I can handle gross zombies, but food that's gone off and has maggots and just that, it's got that smell like cold garbage and
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
The Durst family is evil. We must destroy them all.
So there we go. That was session 6. Everyone survived.
And
To
we
some
spent
extent.
most of the session in one room.
Hang on, that's not accurate.
So you guys went into a room, you went into a hallway, and then you went back into that room.
See?
There we go.
It's
A room and a
It's not
hallway.
Right, but if you think
quantity,
about it, with the
quality.
short rest, we spent most of our time
Healing Eli. You're right.
Healing
exactly.
Eli, yep.
All right.
In fact, we need to retitle this episode "Healing Eli."
Yeah. Right. Awesome. Thank you, everyone, for playing. Thank you to the awesome characters. And yeah, I'm really excited to see what you guys do next. It will be very, very interesting. So with that, check all of these cool people out. Everything will be in the description below, and tune in on Thursday on Mini Train Domain for an episode of Forge of Fury. Yay,
Session
that
10.
Yes, session 10. Yay. So that'll be exciting. And then check out all these other people. They got lots of stuff going on. And thank you, everyone, and have a great night, evening, whatever you can. Bye.
I can't wait for session 23.